Hi guys, today continuing on with my journey with the Fool card, I wanted to touch on overcoming fear-based procrastination, which I've kind of been suffering with really as far as getting the ball moving in some aspects of my life. Part of it is there's so much going on, it's deciding which thing to approach first, and part of it is a fear of sort of making that leap because of a worry about failure or uncertainty, things like that. So we see the fool about to sort of step off a cliff. He's got no fear at all, and this is the kind of energy that I'm trying to harness in order to move forward. So the little dog is warning him about any sort of real dangers. As far as my issues, there's no real danger as such, but it is it's been quite anxiety producing. So I did a reading where I shuffled the deck and asked, how can I overcome sort of fear and procrastination using the Fool energy, and picked the two cards either side of the Fool, and I got the Seven of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. Interestingly enough, both of them sort of relate. For me, it's material stuff, which is what I'm struggling with at the moment. It's the sort of the day-to-day living costs, sorting my car out, etc. And so I'm trying to use the Fool in order to really get into that sense of sort of childlike innocence, just expecting the best rather than assuming the worst, which is what I've sort of fallen into. I tend to just assume, the worst is going to happen, and so then I'm sort of stuck, not making any forward movement at all. So I found it really helpful working with this energy, just sort of meditating on it. The Fool card in the Fountain Tarot is just a beautiful depiction of just joyful abandon. Just go for it. Just, leap into it. And so that's what, meditating on these energies has really sort of enabled me to decide where to move forward, what to move forward with first. The Six of Pentacles. So this for me is about generosity. It's remembering that no matter what, I'm not going to be left destitute. There are people to help me. It's a giving and a taking. So even if I was to lose my car, for instance, there is help, and it's understanding and really realizing and taking on board that I won't be sort of left destitute, and so that's been really helpful. And then the Seven of Pentacles for me has been more about realizing how far I've already come. A lot's happened for me in the last few months, and it's really easy to sort of get stuck in a groove where negative thinking and things like that. But I've actually had quite a lot of successes, and I've proved that I can overcome these things, and I've proved to myself that there are earnings from the work that I've put in. There is progress made. So remembering that the work that I've put in is going to bear fruit, has borne fruit, and that it may still be a little while, but it is going to continue to bear fruit as long as I keep putting the work in. So it's a reminder to keep putting the work in, and I will bear the fruit in the end. And it may take time, but it's quite. I've found these cards to be quite comforting. So with that Fool energy of taking that leap, knowing that if I do take that leap, I am going to be rewarded. Even if it doesn't feel like it now, even if it is scary, and that I won't be sort of left out in the cold like the 5 before this. help is at hand. Yeah, so these cards have helped me decide which path to take first. In my last video, I was really umming and ahhing about which thing to deal with first, and I have decided that the most immediate, even though I'm out of work, and obviously it sort of seems intuitive to say, well, finding work is the biggest priority. Actually, my car's the biggest priority, because I have no work to be able to pay for it to be fixed, and I can't have it left on the road and things like that. So this has really enabled me to get to the nitty gritty and make the plan to take it in, and finally find out what it needs, before I can then really move forward, and decide what to do. I don't know if this is going to make any sense to anyone else. So that this series is really about my own personal use of the tarot in order to overcome practical obstacles in my life. I'm not. Some of it may be spiritual. At this stage, I'm kind of looking at it as a practical help in dealing with my day-to-day stuff that I'm having to deal with, because I have had a struggle in the last few months, and it's basically about starting over for me. So yeah, I found it helpful. So I'm still working with the Fool. I'll be working with it until Sunday, where then the Magician will take over, and that'll be really sort of getting my tools together, and taking those first steps. But the Fool for me has been kind of about getting it right in my head, figuring out my plan, coming to terms with my fear, and how I could possibly move forward. And the Fool, with his sort of joyful, go for it kind of attitude, has really been a great force in my life. It's really made me think about things and get out of my negative self-talk, and realize that it's a choice to look at things in a positive light. It's a choice to realize that what may seem scary may end up being the best thing that ever happened. It's a choice to decide to not automatically assume the worst. And even if the worst happens, it's a choice to say, okay, these things happen for a reason. What is that reason, and how can I learn from that and move forward and continue to make the leaps that I have to make. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So thanks for listening and watching, and I hope that this may help other people as well, possibly. Alright, see you next time. Ta-da, cheery!